European capitals are once again the focal point of discussions surrounding the conflict in Ukraine. Following a summit convened by President Macron in France, a notable Franco-British initiative has emerged. Prime Ministers Macron and Starmer jointly announced a plan for what is being termed a reassurance force, intended for deployment in Ukraine after any potential ceasefire with Russia. This proposal, born from a desire to solidify European support, aims to deter future Russian aggression. However, this initiative unfolds against a stark backdrop of continued operational realities on the ground. Even as diplomatic pathways are explored, Russian forces continue to exert pressure, exemplified by recent drone strikes in Kharkiv causing casualties and damage. This complex environment, marked by both diplomatic maneuvering and ongoing conflict, raises immediate questions about the viability and implications of this proposed reassurance force and the broader European approach to the situation in Ukraine. The Franco-British proposal, while presented as a unified front, immediately encounters the complexities of European consensus. While Macron and Starmer are proceeding with their joint plan, it is evident that not all EU member states are aligned. This divergence in opinion is not merely procedural. It reflects fundamental differences in strategic assessment and preferred courses of action regarding the conflict. The absence of unanimous support raises questions about the actual operational effectiveness and political weight the reassurance force could ultimately possess, even if it were to materialize. Ukrainian leadership, facing the immediate and existential threat of ongoing Russian military operations, has reacted to the proposal with pronounced skepticism. President Zelensky openly articulated many questions surrounding the force's mandate, capabilities, command structure, and practical implementation. This cautious response stems from a pragmatic assessment of the situation. Ukraine's primary concern remains the immediate need for robust defensive capabilities and concrete security guarantees. The vagueness surrounding the reassurance force proposal, contrasted with the tangible reality of Russian attacks on Ukrainian energy infrastructure, naturally leads to a questioning of its immediate relevance and utility in addressing Ukraine's pressing security needs. Further complicating the European picture, Germany's position reveals another layer of strategic divergence. Chancellor Scholz, while reiterating Germany's commitment to supporting Ukraine, expressed distinct reservations about deploying European troops post-ceasefire. Germany's focus, according to Scholz, remains on providing direct and immediate military aid to the Ukrainian army, reflecting a more pragmatic, near-term approach. This divergence from the Franco-British initiative highlights a broader European debate on the optimal strategy, with differing opinions on the balance between immediate military assistance, longer-term security frameworks, and the potential risks and benefits of deploying European forces on Ukrainian territory, even after a hypothetical ceasefire. However, the diplomatic efforts in European capitals stand in stark contrast to the unremitting operational tempo in Ukraine itself. While discussions of a reassurance force take place at summits, Russian military actions persist and even intensify. The recent drone strikes on Kharkiv serve as a brutal reminder of this reality, inflicting casualties and causing significant damage far removed from the conference rooms of Europe. This ongoing violence directly undermines the very premise of a post-ceasefire reassurance force, as it highlights the fundamental lack of a ceasefire to begin with. The continued attacks, particularly on civilian infrastructure, lend credence to President Zelensky's assertion that Russia currently demonstrates no genuine desire for peace. Adding another layer of complexity to this already intricate situation are divergent perspectives extending beyond the European continent, specifically concerning the United States. Both Chancellor Scholz and President Zelensky have voiced concerns regarding signals from Washington suggesting a potential easing of sanctions against Russia. This perceived divergence between European and U.S. approaches creates a situation where the very mechanisms intended to pressure Russia, sanctions, are being questioned, even as military pressure on Ukraine remains undiminished. Such transatlantic discrepancies risk undermining the overall Western strategy and could be interpreted by Moscow as a weakening of resolve, potentially emboldening further aggressive actions rather than fostering de-escalation. Examining the situation more closely, the potential ramifications of these transatlantic differences extend beyond mere diplomatic friction. If the United States were to ease sanctions pressure, as suggested by recent signals, the intended economic and political leverage against Russia would demonstrably diminish. This could create a situation where Europe maintains a posture of military reassurance, while a key ally potentially reduces economic pressure. Such a disjointed approach risks sending mixed signals to Moscow, potentially undermining the credibility of the collective Western stance. President Zelensky's expressed concern that Russia seeks to divide Europe and America gains further weight in this context, as divergent approaches to sanctions could be interpreted by Moscow as precisely such a division, or at least the emergence of exploitable fractures within the Western alliance. Furthermore, amidst these diplomatic and political maneuvers, the operational reality on the ground continues to evolve, sometimes in ways that contradict the very notion of de-escalation. The report of additional North Korean troop deployments to Russia, numbering in the thousands, offers a concrete example. This reported reinforcement suggests an ongoing Russian military buildup, or at minimum, a sustained commitment to existing operational tempo, irrespective of diplomatic initiatives or proposed reassurance forces. Such developments on the ground serve as a stark reminder that while diplomatic efforts are underway, the fundamental dynamics of the conflict remain driven by military considerations and the continued application of force. The strategic environment, therefore, is characterized by a complex interplay of diplomatic proposals, divergent national interests, and persistent military actions, creating a situation that remains fluid and potentially volatile. The confluence of these factors carries significant implications for the broader strategic landscape in Eastern Europe and beyond. The Franco-British Reassurance Force proposal, while intended to project resolve, inadvertently highlights a lack of cohesive European strategy. The divergent reactions from Ukraine and Germany underscore the absence of a unified vision regarding post-ceasefire security arrangements and the optimal approach to deterring future Russian aggression. This internal European debate, played out in public statements and diplomatic maneuvering, could be interpreted by external actors as a sign of weakness or strategic uncertainty, potentially undermining the intended deterrent effect of any reassurance force. Moreover, the potential transatlantic divergence regarding sanctions policy introduces a further element of instability into the equation. A perceived weakening of U.S. resolve on sanctions, even if partially offset by European military posturing, risks creating a strategic mixed message. This ambiguity could embolden Russia to continue its current course of action, predicated on the assumption that Western unity is fracturing and that sustained pressure will ultimately diminish. In a broader context, this situation illustrates the inherent challenges in maintaining a unified and consistent Western approach to complex, long-term geopolitical challenges, particularly when faced with evolving operational realities and potentially divergent national interests within the alliance. The strategic environment remains characterized by fluidity and uncertainty, demanding constant reassessment and adaptation in the face of shifting dynamics on multiple fronts. Ultimately, the unfolding situation surrounding Ukraine reveals a critical strategic paradox. Diplomatic initiatives such as the Franco-British Reassurance Force proposal emerge against a backdrop of persistent and escalating operational realities on the ground. This dissonance between intended diplomatic signals and unyielding military actions underscores a fundamental lack of strategic coherence within the Western approach. The absence of unified European consensus, coupled with potential transatlantic divergences, creates a complex and potentially unstable environment. The ongoing Russian military pressure, evidenced by continued attacks and reported troop reinforcements, demonstrates a sustained operational commitment that overshadows and potentially undermines the intended effects of diplomatic maneuvering. Therefore, the strategic outlook remains defined by a precarious equilibrium, a dynamic interplay of diplomatic efforts and military actions, characterized by uncertainty and the potential for rapid shifts in the operational and political landscape. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this analysis, and be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more geopolitical insights like this. I love hearing your thoughts, so drop a comment below and let's keep the conversation going. Share this video with anyone interested in deeper perspectives on current events. Until next time, stay informed and think critically. Thank you.